The Minnesota Vikings and fans were hoping, waiting, wishing that Irv Smith Jr. year 4, this was it. This is finally the year that the second-round pick out of Alabama, Roll Tides, was going to get together. He was clearly tight end 1, going to get it done, but then he had that thumb issue early on in training camp, back for the season, but then this was not a touchdown. Rough. Also had a big-time drop against the Lions as well. And after the Vikings signed veteran tight end Jacob Hollister to the practice squad, it made us raise an eyebrow because Hollister is not the type of tight end you put on the practice squad, especially when you're already 3 deep at tight end on the active roster. Plus, you got Nick Muse, the 7th-round pick, down there as well. So, are the Vikings thinking about trading Irv Smith Jr.? It's a good question. Now, I understand. Why would they do that? They put all their eggs in the one basket with Irv. No, they did not. And I understand this is us stirring the pot a little bit, but it makes sense. He's the only tight end on the roster with some trade value because of the whole "mama, I can change him" angle from teams that would be acquiring him. So here's the reasons. Number 1, Irv dropping it like it's hot. It's been extremely disappointing. So that Irv drop in the second quarter against the Eagles would have been a touchdown, 63-yarder, would have changed the complexion of that game. Fully get it. Also had a big-time drop against the Lions, like I mentioned. And they trust Johnny Munt and Ben Ellefson, the pride of NDSU, go Bison. Clearly. We'll get to that in a second. Also, the Vikings previously under the Kubiai used the most multiple tight end sets in the National Football League. The Vikings now are in 11 personnel like 75% of the time. So the usage of the tight end greatly shrinking, greatly reducing. And the role of the tight end in the Vikings offense under Kevin O'Connell is you have to be in line, do have to block. And Munt and Ellefson are better at that than Irv at this moment in time. Also, Kwesi did not draft Irv. Kwesi was not the guy who spent a second-round pick on Irv back in the day. And Kwesi, he's shown, as evidenced by 53-man cutdowns, getting rid of that entire third round of the 2021 draft minus Patrick Jones' second, that Kwesi ain't shy about getting rid of Spielman guys and keeping his own dudes. Also, if the Vikings traded Irv now ahead of the Week 4 game against the Saints, they would save about $1.05 million in cap savings. And the Vikings tight against the cap, trying to pinch some pennies, that would make sense. Also, Irv is in a contract season, year 4 of his rookie deal, so likely going to leave in free agency anyway. And yes, if he leaves in free agency, and then maybe you'll get a compensatory pick in 2024, or do you get some draft compensation next year in 2023, or potentially another player? I don't know. Maybe someone who can stop the run. Maybe some more cornerback depth. I don't know. Also, and like we mentioned, Jacob Hollister is not a practice squad tight end. He is the guy that you have on your roster as your tight end 2, tight end 3. So that's what made me raise my eyebrows just a little bit. Just like, And the breakdown of the tight end snaps so far. So the Vikings have had 195 total snaps on offense through 3 games. Irv's played 90, Munt 96, Ben Ellefson 33. Now, what's interesting is that Johnny Munt has started the first 2 games of the season. Ben Ellefson actually started against the Lions. And now, initially when Kevin O'Connell had talked about Munt and Irv's usage week 1, he was like, oh, it's matchup based. And we thought, you're a liar. They're working Irv back in slowly. But I don't think that's the truth. I think that he actually is being legit there. But no, I think that actually is the truth. I think he is being legit, saying that, oh, this is matchup based and Irv is not automatically tight end 1. Because you look at it, obviously they're trying to get him the football. Cousins and Irv do have a rapport, but still 7 catches, 68 yards, and a touchdown on 15 targets. Munt has the exact same production minus a touchdown on only 8 targets. And Ben Ellefson, go Bison, the pride of Howley. People don't like when I say Howley. Fine. Hawley, Minnesota, 3 catches for 26 yards on only 3 targets, bring in all 3 of them. So the fact that the tight end is not as important of a factor as it has been in previous seasons, plus you have Nick Muse on the practice squad, plus you do have Jacob Hollister, like we mentioned, on the practice squad, who's not a practice squad tight end, it definitely is cause for pause. And the trade deadline is after the Vikings play the Cardinals week 8, set for November 1st. So they'll have a couple weeks to decide. Now, question is, who would trade for Irv? As of right now, off the top of our head, just spitballing the Bengals. So they lost Azuma to the Jets in free agency. Him and Joe Burrow were like this. And then Hayden Hurst, who they brought in to replace him, he's been dinged up. Also, whatever. The Cowboys, Dalton Schultz has been dealing with some injuries. Sure. The Eagles reunited with Jalen Hurts, backing up Dallas Goedert. 2 tight end attack, why not? The Browns, Kevin Stefanski, even though they got David Njoku, who's really starting to come into his own. That's Stefanski time. Remember, Stefanski was the Vikings OC during Irv's rookie season 2019. Maybe that connection could pan out. Or the Dolphins, even though, yes, they do have Gesicki, Irv and Tua reunited, and it feels so good. Just adding more weapons to the offense, sure. But what would it take? I don't know. I would take a mid-round pick. Like, if a team offered a 4th-round pick for Irv right now, I may take it, like a 2023 4th-round pick, or if we're talking about a guy who's going to come on the defensive line and stop the run, would consider it, or a starting caliber cornerback also would consider it. So I don't know. Again, it may be just reading too much into this and making something out of nothing, but why do the Vikings have 4 tight ends that you would feel comfortable being on the field when they've greatly reduced the role of the tight end? So when this happens, it would make you think that the only guy of the tight ends without any trade value, they may be checking things out. Who really knows? But your thoughts are thoughts. Vikings, Irv Smith, trade, question mark? I don't know. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work, put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skull Production Value.